So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our video of Atmakaraka through houses. It's a new one. Guess what it is? I wonder what it is. Should I reveal it? Nah, forget it. Should I reveal it? Oh, wait. I put that in the title. All right, you guys got me. So, yes, we're going to be doing Mercury in the ascendant as your Atmakaraka. And remember, Atmakaraka is a planet with the closest degree to the 29th degree point. Okay, so it becomes important. Now, listen to me. Listen to me. Don't move forward because I have to explain this because many of you make this blunder. I don't know where you're learning these things from and what concepts are you coming up with. But because besides Sun and Moon, other planets can retrograde. Because in Atmakaraka, we use Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn only. We don't use Rahu, Ketu, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. So please, none of that is there. The second thing, please, just because the planet is retrograde, because now planets can be retrograde, do not be subtracting their degrees. Do not be putting them in a previous sign and then doing it. Don't make your life complicated. Just whatever the degree of Mercury is. And better than that, if the software tells you it's Atmakaraka, it's Atmakaraka. But now, be very careful. Because you guys send me screenshots from these apps on Vedic astrology. And they're not calculated properly because they're not using internally calculated GST time. And sometimes even the time that you put as a GST, plus this, minus that. Do you know some countries blocked it for a certain time? Like from 1968 to 1976, there was no GST time. Then suddenly they did something else. And it's like, if you're not aware of all these things, you can miscalculate because every time I see a chart, 30% of the chart is somehow off or 20% of the chart is always off. With some degree, some planet being somewhere in the divisional charts. And I only use Parashar Light. And they're not a sponsor ever. I've never done any sponsorship with me. It's just that it's the best software. So I'm only going to mention, and this is why the report that you get is from Parashar Light on my website on option 6. So you can see which the Atmakaraka is. Okay. And especially, and I know many of you also email me, oh, I can just download the pirated version of the software. If you do any pirate download of any software, any book, you will damage your Jupiter and Venus immediately. Please don't do these things. If you're watching Vedic astrology and you're understanding Vedic astrology, I've said this in my academy as well. Just because some book is available on Scribs for download, don't dare ever to download that book and study from it. Get the version and pay the author. Please, you're damaging your planets. You're damaging your planets big time. Especially with books, you damage your Mercury when you download it for free without exchanging that energy with the author or with the software programmer. So it's important. So anyway, again, if you do want to know what your Mercury is as the Atmakaraka or any other planet, all the details of your astrology, you can go to chaosastrology.com. Under a shop section, you will see option 6, PDF report, or any other option besides that below it will give PDF report as well. Okay, along with my, of course, wristwatch and wealth course, BNN course on my academy. So let's get started. So one of the important things, you will see with Mercury in the ascendant is, first of all, there's this duality. There's duality in a person. There is this dual nature in a person. This person is the hardest to figure out who they are. And that is who they are because it's hard to figure them out. Because Mercury is the sunset and sunrise time. And you don't know which one is which if you were to wake up 72 hours later. You would be thinking it's 6 p.m., but it's actually 6 a.m. Okay. So whoever the person says they are, with this Mercury in the ascendant, they might be something else. But on the other hand, This Mercury will also, especially as Atmakaraka, not as regular Mercury, Atmakaraka would run into certain confusion about one's identity. Whether it could be on a basic form like, who am I? What am I supposed to do? Where do I belong? And you will see with Mercury and Atmakaraka mostly will go to many, many astrologers. They get actually interested in astrology as Atmakaraka. But on the other hand, if Mars is activated, if Mars is activated, this person may also have confusion towards their gender. Am I male, female? Am I transgender? Should I just be fluid? Should I just be bi? But Mars's activation has to be there. Because Mercury is transgender. Mercury is the one, because of his wife and her curse, asked the gods to become like the wife, but opposite. If wife was female in the morning, would become a male at night, so he desired to be male in the morning and female at night. This is why, and just even yesterday, literally last four, I have this stuff saved. Atmakaraka Mercury have always played a very significant role in people who would be transgender, but again, it cannot be everybody because Mars has to be activated in a certain condition, certain way, which I can't show you here. I have to show you that on the board somewhere. Okay. So yeah, that's one of the things. And the other thing, excellent debaters. Mercury in the Lagna, they'll debate. Excellent mathematician, physicists, calculators. Like they want to always calculate things. They get a receipt, they want to add up everything just for the sake of it, just for the fun of it. Always curious about collecting books, collecting information. From a young age, such people you will see, they get glasses very early in age. You know why? Because they love reading in the dark. Sometimes they like to put the cover on their head and read. Because see, Mercury is closest planet to the sun. It's always heated, it's always burned, it always has too much light. So Mercury in the Lagna as Atmakaraka prefers less light. And if they read early as a child in darkness, their eyes will get weak. Okay. But on the other hand, Mercury is the Atmakaraka, right? So one of the biggest challenge, okay, with Mercury in the Atmakaraka, their communication. Their communication can become extremely harsh. Sometimes they'll say the wrong things at the wrong time to the wrong people. And either they get into trouble or they just create animosity with other people. You would think that Mercury as the Atmakaraka will have all the sense about communication. No, that is the challenge. They really don't know if I should say this right now in this condition to this person or not. They'll just say it. So this is something they have to work on. When to say, what to say, and how to say to someone. Such people long for communication. And they usually get people who may not want to communicate with them. They'll get spouses who may not want to communicate with them. That is the challenge. The challenge is you want too much communication, and the Atma is requiring less communication because Mercury is the Atmakaraka. Just like I said, Sun is the Atmakaraka, humble. Don't try to become the king. Instead of the king, behave like the servant. And then you'll learn your lesson as the Atmakaraka, because that's the challenging point. And the other challenging point of this Mercury is, again, the identification part. Mercury is ID. Mercury is like your driver's license. And again, also one thing I wanted to mention, if Mercury is retrograde, the calculation will still be the same. If Mercury is closest to the 30th degree point, that is it. You don't need to use any form of weird calculations. I don't know where you guys learned these things from. You really need to just stick to how the rishis and expert have taught us. If it's retrograde, You're not using the previous house as the Atmakaraka. You're not using the subtracting the degrees. You just look at the degrees where they are. And Mercury in the ascendant will also bring nervous tension. Mercury in the ascendant will bring an anxiety. Mercury will also bring skin issues in the ascendant. Some form of either spot will be there on your skin, some darker spot, okay? Or one tends to get a lot of zits, a lot of acne. Um, the other thing about Mercury, being in the ascendant, you would probably think, oh, this person wants to do business or is very good at business. So that is also the challenging part. They want to do business, they don't know what to do. They want to do business, they don't know how to go about doing something. Like if somebody asks me, okay, I should do business. Okay, yeah, you can do business. What business should I do? Okay, try to do this business. Okay, how do I go about getting this thing? Like I said, they keep asking all the nitty gritty questions. Like, okay, they'll even ask about, to me as an astrologer, what type of a supplier should I go to? Should I go to someone with this, someone with this, someone with this name, that? Like because Mercury wants to go into details of things. Mercury wants to error pick everything. So they will ask the most questions, in astrology. They will have the list of 20 questions. Okay. But like, for example, if somebody told me, Kapiel, you should do business related to silk clothing and perfume. Okay, you'll do well. I'll be like, okay, got it. And I'm like, okay, I don't have capital. I don't have anything. I don't know which manufacturer to go to. I'll be like, I'll just go online. I'll be like, I'll look for an unknown name brand for perfume. I'll be like, okay, I'll get 10 perfumes. I'll slap my logo on it. And I'm going to market it. Now I'm going to market it as like the next Louis Vuitton or something. And instead of selling this thing for $15, I'm going to sell this for $400. The most elite perfume. So I'm already calculating all of that. With this Mercury, they need to know. Whether you're an astrologer, whether you're a financial counselor, whether you're a career counselor, okay, now what type of a manufacturer? Okay, now what type of color should I pick? What type of logo should I? It's like they need to know everything. So once they know the whole data, that's when things will make sense to them, but only as the Atmakaraka. Mercury as a regular planet may behave very differently instead of the Atmakaraka. Because Atmakaraka is a challenge. Atmakaraka is a challenge for you. Like even with Mercury in the ascendant, you will see some people may not even have desires to have children. They will not care to have children. They want to live that youthful life. They feel like if I had children, I would have to dedicate my entire time to that, where I need to learn, I need to study, I need to do this, I need to do that. And especially in order for that particular Mercury to behave like that as the Atmakaraka, Ketu has to be activated. I know I'm talking about activation, but it's not simply just shown here or talked about here. It has to be shown. Okay. And the other thing, with Mercury in the ascendant, usually you will see people prefer being single. People prefer not wanting to take the maximum responsibility within the marriage. You know why? Because they themselves don't know if I should be in a role of a husband or wife. Because internally there's so much curiosity about life, they will feel like settling in becomes too much of that work. The other thing you will also see with Mercury in the ascendant, okay, sure, they will want to get married, but they want absolute control over it as the Atmakaraka. Full control of how the marriage needs to be. And that's where the trouble comes in. The other thing with Mercury in the ascendant, if Mercury is damaged in the ascendant, Moon is damaged in the birth chart, great comedians. They'll make great comedians, especially if the chart shows some form of depression. And Mercury is the Atmakaraka. You can see this person can do easily some kind of stand-up comedy. Because I have studied the charts of comedians. Big comedians. They all have issues with depression and anxiety. Okay. And their Mercury and Moon will always, you will always, always, always will find them damaged. Because only through that damaged mind, they want to find joy in their life by looking at funnier things, looking at joyful things, and then entertaining other people so they can forget about what their depression is. You cannot just be a comedian if you have just normal Mercury and Moon. You can't. There has to be damage to them. So you see how weakening Mercury and Moon actually is helping you. They actually become a strength for you. So weakening does not always mean bad and weak. That weakness suddenly gives strength to something else in the person's life. Okay. So anyway, guys, this was my analysis of Mercury in the ascendant, for as the Atmakaraka for your chart. And if you're new to my channel, subscribe below so you don't miss these type of videos. And please check out the links, astrology.com, where you'll find my academy and all the consultations. Remember, especially the academy, because through that academy, I'm going to be making that Saturn movie. Okay? See you later. Bye-bye.